when did the idea stem from, okay, I'm in public accounting or whatever accounting you were doing, to now I'm going to start a studio?
When people can donate whatever they want, they're more likely to come and do yoga.
There's the physical aspect, but then there is a spiritual aspect to yoga as well.
What does the word yoga even mean or translate to? Roughly, it translates to yoking or union, or bringing together disparate parts. So things that seem disconnected, bringing them together. And the thing that specifically is disconnected in our day and age is
Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to Talkin St. Pete. I'm your host, Ryan Bogdan. Before we get into today's awesome guest, I want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Bogdan Homes. So if you know anyone here in the greater Tampa Bay area looking to buy, sell, or invest in an awesome property, we're here to help, as we believe that luxury is an experience, not a price point. And now on to our awesome guest. I have Noah Villalobos, the owner and co-founder of Beach Town Yoga. Dude, we're so grateful to have you here.
Dude, this studio is sick, man. You've done some excellent stuff out here, man. I'm really happy to be here. Like, just hearing my own voice in this place, like, makes me realize, like, dang, I should teach yoga.
Yeah, I should teach.
Wait.
You do, man. And you teach a bomb class. You know, I was grateful to make it out there last Monday, 6 a.m., bright and early, getting after it. And it was awesome. It was much needed. And I got to get out there more. So I'm going to just jump right into the first question with you. Yeah. Because I'm curious. When you were 13 years old, did you think that you would be a yoga instructor?
Absolutely not, dude. Okay, so I grew up, I had a sign on my door that said, "Get money, get paid." I was all about the Benjamins growing up. Like, that was like I grew up, my mom was a single mom. She was raising us and like working on this on her own and like building up her wealth. And she came up, like she really did, over her life. And it was an inspiring thing to me, because it was like, man, I'm gonna come up too. Like, I'm gonna make mine. And like, so it was always this motivation to like get money. And I went into college. I was a business major at UT. Like, it was like 100%. That was my drive. And then I did 3 public accounting internships. And that completely changed my whole vision of what I wanted my life to be, because I realized like what it actually means to get money and get paid.
Yes, I get. Okay, so you didn't enjoy the office environment of that accounting world.
Oh, dude, so I did 3 internships, and I'm lucky that I did so many, because I like really loaded up on them. I was like, I'm gonna get paid during college. They were paid internships, and I was like making like a solid salary at these accounting internships, and like it made me realize like, wow, this is absolutely not the kind of lifestyle I want to live. Like, and also like, I think that like my whole mentality changed when, I went through college and I played rugby and I got concussed like a bunch of times. And I think that like jumbled up my whole like worldview. Like, it was almost like
knock some sense into you.
Yeah. like a psycho experience, like a psychiatric experience to like get your stuff jumbled up. And I realized, I was like, dang, this actually sucks, man. Sitting in this office, working for these people that like, when I thought I was going to get into the career world, I was like, I'm going to look up to these people. I'm going to like, and then I saw these managers, these partners working like 70, 80-hour weeks. And I'm like, wait, that's what I'm looking up towards? Like, that's what, and like my get money, get paid back in high school was like, I was doing lawn work. I owned a lawn mowing company. Like, I was outside. Like, I worked construction during the summer times, and it was just like a mentality of like, let's work hard. But it wasn't like this kind of like bean counter work hard that I had ever been exposed to. So I got in that accounting world, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is absolutely not what I want. I did those 3 internships, and then I took all the money that I made from my accounting internships, or at least what was left of it, because when you engage in that lifestyle, like your weekdays are just grind, and your weekend is just blow it off,
spend it. Yeah, you're not used to making that kind of money or whatever, and you're like, okay, now it's time to have some fun. Work hard, play hard.
You have to.
Yeah,
like you absolutely have to in order to endure that full week of just like
you gotta blow off
grinding. Yeah.
So how did that transition? When did you find yoga? Because were you doing yoga at that time?
So it's interesting. It was like this sort of blessing in disguise. I mean, it took me a long time to even realize that it was a blessing, but I got in a massive car accident when I was 16 years old.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude. Huge. I got T-boned. And it was some Remember the Titans kind of stuff, man. We had just finished the second game of the season. I was a junior. I was playing defensive end linebacker combo. I was all city, like I was going to be, college recruit. That was my breakout year. Second game of the season. I'm going to the after party. I was a block away. I took a wrong turn. So I turned around back into the main road. I got T-boned by this guy that was going like 40 or 50 over the speed limit.
Wow.
It's debatable, alleged that he was like pilled out too. Like, and so that completely like rocked my world. Like my jaw broke, my ribs broke, my hip broke, like everything.
Wrecked you good.
Wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. Stole my junior year from me. I still hopped on the field. The last game, though, I hopped on the field for like a couple plays. It was more of like, like
honorary.
Yeah. But I was just completely like wrecked. It took everything from me, and I thought I would never have any of my athleticism back. Like, and I was driven by athleticism. Like for my entire life, I had played football, I had played baseball, basketball, anything that I could get my hands on. I was out there on the field trying to make plays, and so when that was taken from me, it was like, man, how am I going to get this back? How am I going to because I already felt like an old man at 16 years old. So I had to do something.
Yeah. How long I guess you got in a good enough position in a few months to make it at least to walk on the field in the last game.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have this accident. This is an awakening for you on that. So rehabilitate yourself back to being able to be somewhat athletic. Where does yoga come in?
Well, I wasn't about to pay for PT.
Okay, so this is back then.
Yeah, this was back then. We were still coming up, and like I couldn't pay for like those $100 PT sessions, deep tissue, all that stuff, like human optimization kind of stuff that like gets you out of that bottom. I had to do it myself, and really the one thing that stood out was going to yoga class. Like I'd go and I would start to feel like a little bit better every single time, But like, it's a grind, man. When you're fixing yourself, like it's painful. You go through the process on like a personal level, on a deeper level. You're working through all your like emotions too. It's not just like going to the shop and getting yourself fixed up. You're working through it on your own. And
that's so 16 years old. You're all busted up. You find yoga then. And you start to PT yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I was able to hop back in senior year, played a solid season. I played 5 years of rugby during college. So I was back in my game. But since I was jacked up, like everything was off kilter. It was like required maintenance. I was like the old man on all these teams. Like I had to constantly be doing my yoga. I had to constantly be doing my stretching. Otherwise, my whole thing would lock up and I would start getting these other injuries that just pop up because you're imbalanced. Like you got one little kink in the armor and then everything else starts to give way once you put yourself under the pressure of like trying to tackle a 260-pound man.
Yeah, that's a lot of force on the body. That's really cool. So this journey started then from that accident.
Yeah.
And you've continued consistently. Was there a time where you fell off? I mean, or has it been something because of your injuries that you had to do?
I had to do it. It was like a necessity because I had to keep competing. I had to keep going out there and like showing myself that like, I could be somebody. I could be somebody on the field. I could accomplish something. Like it was a big part of my drive to go out there and showcase myself. I mean, to show myself that all the hard work that I had been doing was paying off. Like if you've grown up a competitor, I mean, you probably know, like once you have that little itch, if you scratched of winning and being dominant, like it doesn't go away. Like it's like you don't just scratch it and it's gone. Like you got to keep going and keep building and keep conquering, right?
Yeah. You got to stand on top of the world.
That was the only way that I could keep doing it.
That makes sense. That's cool because you never know. Like people find yoga. I feel like there's always some catalyst in people's life that brings them to yoga, right? And being an ancient technology that we have, right? It's fascinating that not more people are doing it. Okay, so when does because I know you've had a few studios and you do it in a different light. So you're in college, you're doing your accounting gig. You're like, all right, this shit's not for me. Yeah. We need to go do something else. When did the idea stem from? Okay, I'm in public accounting or whatever accounting you were doing to now I'm going to start a studio.
I read this book that was like, look at your life and what has shown up consistently, no matter what no matter all the ebbs and flows of whatever's been going on. What has always been there? Look at that. See if you can make money off of it. See if you can make a career off of it. That's where the purpose meets the passion meets the skills.
Yep.
All those things, they'll come together, and then you can create something, a livelihood out of that potentially. And that was a blessing for me to be able to, I just picked up that book randomly. I don't even know where I got it. I don't even know what it's called. Like, I wish I could shout this dude out who like wrote that book, or woman out that wrote that book, but I have no idea. I just read it, tossed it, and then went on with my life and made that huge decision to just completely take the exit route on the normal 9 to 5.
Okay, so what did that look like for you?
So I signed up for yoga teacher training my last year of college. I started teaching yoga like the week before I graduated teacher training. Like they just threw me into the fire at the studio that I was doing my training at. And it was this studio called Black Swan Yoga in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And it's a donation yoga studio. So I started working right away with the studio that I had trained under. And that's where I started busting my chops. And given my accounting experience and like my business knowledge and my ability to like just handle logistical tasks, like anything that required like more concentration on a computer screen than 5 seconds,
Right.
like that enabled me to just hop into the management team super quickly and combine the ability of being able to sling a dope yoga class with actually running the behind the scenes on like, it's a business also. Like this is just like any other business. It's got a P&L.
Yep.
You got cash flow issues. You got rent to pay. You got all these things, logistical HR stuff. Like you got to get it done if you want to be able to serve it up at the end of the day. So
yeah, so I mean, you're the second guest that we've had on. We've had Carrington on from Sunset.
Oh, nice.
And but you guys are doing things a little bit different with the donation base. So you took that concept from that first studio that you learned from and being donation based. And I really like your mission that we talked about on the phone about that. Tell us more about the donation-based idea behind the yoga studio.
Yeah. So first of all, when people can donate whatever they want, they're more likely to come and do yoga. And we're going out there and we're trying to get as many people as possible to do yoga. It's changed my life. It's changed my wife's life. It's changed all of our teachers' lives in some kind of way. That the only thing that we could think of as a purpose, as a valid purpose to move forward is try to make this as accessible and approachable as we possibly could for everybody. Not just people that can afford yoga, not just people that are trying to be like monk style yoga either. Like the donation yoga aspect stems out all these strategies in the sense of like, how do you make this for the average normal day-to-day person? And it's pricing, but it's also vibes. Like you want to present something that like somebody walks into and they don't think that they're like joining up with a cult or a religion or all those kind of normal like reasons why people would be like, ooh, I don't want to do yoga. Isn't there like fancy symbols from India in there, like all that stuff? Like, no, it's literally just focusing your awareness on your body and creating healing with your own force. Like you've got it right here inside of you. Just make it happen.
Right.
And so we want to make that happen for more people. So we reduce the barriers to entry, both in the price, in the vibe, in anything that we could possibly do to make that a better and easier experience for everybody.
And Beach Town Yoga is not your first studio.
No.
Right? You started one in Texas?
Yeah. So Black Swan Yoga was the first studio that I had ever taught at. That's where I did my teacher training. That's where Claire did her teacher training too, my wife, my business partner. And so we both came up in a donation yoga mindset. We came up in that packed house, get as many people in, cram them in. You got $1, I don't care. You got 50 cents? Sure, hop in. Like just get in here, because there's a special thing that happens when you fill a room with people that are all there from all different walks of life, but they're all connected on the same mission of we're trying to get better.
Yep.
Like we're trying to do something for ourselves, but then at the same time you realize like you're doing it for everybody else too. Like in that room, like when you're digging deep, like there's a special superpower that happens among human beings. I call it the pirate ship effect.
Tell a pirate ship effect. What
we were crammed on these like in the hull of ships, man. We were just like all together. You put everybody in a crammed room. It's hot and sweaty and stinky, and then it's not stinky at our yoga studios, but in the pirate ship, it must have been stinky.
You know, it had to be.
There's
nasty.
some special thing, some special willpower, some special grit that is embedded in all of humans to get through those kind of moments. We have it inside of us.
Yeah.
Like that grit, it's in every single one of us.
Well, it's a coming together moment, right? When you go through any kind of tough situation with a group of people, now it's like you're connected on that, you know, making it through. Now you got me thinking about pirate ships and being stinky. Man, you imagine
Dude, I cannot imagine.
Out at sea for months with no shower but salt water.
Those people were absolute G's. Can you believe? So think about the people in the old world.
Yeah.
And they were like, there's this massive body of water, but I don't like this guy that's telling me to pay my taxes all the time.
So I'm going to get in a boat.
I'm going to get in this boat and we're going to see what happens.
The world's supposedly flat, but we're going to go find the end.
Dude, think about how much balls that dude had to just get in the ship and go.
Yeah. True explorers.
Seriously, man.
Yeah. Exploring. And you can tie that right in. I mean, just as we're exploring our bodies, exploring life. I mean, those guys are exploring the world, not knowing.
Oh, they had to be so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So uncomfortable to leave the comforts
Wait, and
of
how much food do you bring?
That's the thing.
You don't know how long, like, it's not like you can just pull over and find a banana tree or something.
No, dude, you're in the middle of the ocean, the least habitable place on Earth for human beings.
Right. And they had to bring animals with them, and they're stinky. And oh man,
dude, there's no porta potties, there's no bathrooms on there.
Yeah,
it's a pirate ship effect.
It's a pirate ship effect at the studio.
We're trying to tap into that. I'm not trying to make the exact experience, but if we can,
coming together. Yeah, the coming together. Yeah, sorry, I just took a little tangent there on that. But okay, so Beach Town Yoga. How long you guys been open?
Well, 5 months.
And you're doing great, man. You're doing great. Dude. You do have good vibes in there, and it's a really cool studio. And for those, I mean, we talked about this a little bit on previous shows, but I'm sure just some people are watching this. There's so many different styles of yoga.
Yeah.
Can you break that down for us a little bit? Because your studio is not heated, correct?
Oh yeah, we're warm.
You're warm. You are warm.
Yeah, we're warm, but it's not hot yoga in the sense of like Bikram style.
Yeah.
Hot yoga studios will heat up to like 100 degrees. 100. I think there's like a specific degree number, like 102 or something like that, with like 80%.
That's what I noticed, and I like that. It's not overwhelming. Like I've been in some studios where I had to leave.
Yeah.
Like there was one in particular, I'm not going to name them, but they had just gotten new heaters and the humidity was jacked up, and there was a group of us, like we had to walk out.
Damn.
It's too hot.
Yeah.
Like, and I can tough up to a lot of stuff, man, but I was like, I'm going to go down.
It gets to that point.
Yeah. But your studio is not close to that.
No. We're trying to get the body warm enough to create like a transformative experience. Like you see, so you're getting visual feedback. You're seeing all the sweat dripping off you. You don't need 100 degrees to do that. We're at 88, 90 degrees in the studio, and you're getting that same energy, that sweat flowing out of you. You're getting that same visual feedback to let you know that your choices right now to stay in that crescent lunge are making a difference. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. And it's burning and screaming at you. Yeah. To make it through that mental toughness of that. What is it about yoga for you, other than the physical aspects, but on a mental spot that helps you or helps people that are coming in? Because I think, I mean, people understand that, but I don't know that if you're not doing yoga currently right now, I don't think you can fully appreciate what it does for you mentally.
Dude, we are so comfortable. So comfy. This studio, comfy, man. This chair, oh man, I'm feeling great. There's air conditioning in here. We live such a comfortable life. This is the modern day and age. Like but just like we were talking about, humans have lived in like so much discomfort, like pretty much 99.9% of the entire existence of humanity. So when we cut ourselves off from that discomfort, we cut ourselves off from what makes us human. And the things that makes us human are being resilient, being able to do anything, being able to accomplish the greatest things that we've ever seen any species accomplish on this planet. Like that's what makes us human. So we cut us off from that inner working, that inner mechanism that gets us pushing forward, that gets us innovating, that gets us figuring out how to solve problems. And then we expect ourselves to feel good. We expect ourselves to have purpose. We expect ourselves to like live the fulfilled life that humans have lived for generations and generations. Like something's got to give. Like you got to bring yourself back to that uncomfortability. And yeah, we've got a comfortable life. We can do it in a safe way, in a safe place. We're not having to die of dysentery in order to like experience that humanity anymore. But we can still tap into it. And it's almost like we get the best of both worlds. Like, yeah, I got that pirate's blood running through me, but at the same time, like I'm going home and I'm eating steak. Like I'm not eating random.
And I bought it from the store and it was easy and
exactly. So it's something that I think like people need to find that uncomfortability however they do it. That's why like working out is a huge thing. I mean, you see people live a sedentary life and it shows. I mean, it's very unfortunate, but like all you got to do is invigorate that inner fire a little bit and things start changing. I mean, it's amazing. Like you see these amazing weight loss stories and it's not like these people are going out and running marathons. They're just moving their body around a little bit and it starts working. And it's tough to say stuff like, aesthetics matter, but aesthetics are a viewpoint. We have evolved to see what like healthy looks like and what unhealthy or what is not healthy. And you can see that just in a glimpse, in a catch of an eye, like something that looks healthy, something that doesn't look healthy. And so like you can see those transformations really quickly. And a lot of times people, they have to put in like very minimal work and they start seeing advances, seeing their physicality change. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. I mean, to the sedentary lifestyle, like you said, I just said this the other day in a class I was teaching that, what happens to water when it sits?
Yeah.
And we're made of mostly water.
Dude, yeah.
So you got to move that thing around, get the blood pumping, get the heart moving, sweat a little bit. And yoga is so accessible and a great thing. So my sister and brother-in-law are both yoga teachers.
Oh, nice.
Well, they've gone through training. They're now just had a baby, so they're kind of doing their own thing now. But, and I've done a bunch of yoga, been in that world a little bit, haven't gone through teacher training yet. I know I will at some point in my life.
I can see it.
Yeah, it's just a matter of when. But I believe in it wholeheartedly, and what it does for us. And I really believe, like looking back, us not really knowing the origination of yoga, because it goes back so far. It's fascinating to know, like, okay, this is something our bodies have been doing for a really, really long time in these particular poses. I mean, you probably know way more than me. I mean, walk us through a little bit of what you know in terms of the history of yoga, because there's the physical aspect, but then there is a spiritual aspect to yoga as well. We got the 8 limbs of yoga. We have all these things. Like in that journey, because yoga is not just the movement of the body; it can be a lifestyle, depending on how deep you go into it.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you said, the 8 limbs, way more than you give off, man. Yeah. So, I mean, the asana, the poses are one of the 8 limbs on the path to yoga. And what does the word yoga even mean or translate to? Roughly, it translates to yoking or union or bringing together disparate parts. So things that seem disconnected, bringing them together. And the thing that specifically is disconnected in our day and age is our mind, from our heart, our body, from our being. These things that we seem to be locked into this mental state, and we tell ourselves these stories. We start building up this whole vision of our lives inside, and we think that we're those thoughts. But really, when you get rid of all those thoughts and you tune back into your body, you realize there's just this peaceful state that you've got inside of you. So what the goal of yoga is, and what we're all trying to get towards, is reconnecting with this state inside of us that is our little piece of the universe that we've got that connects us to everything else. And that's yoking, that's union with everything. So ultimately, we're trying to get into a state of meditation, which is not thinking about anything, having complete focus on this present moment that your consciousness is experiencing in reality. And through that, we experience timelessness. So there is no longer a separateness of the future, the past, or the present. You are now with all that's ever been, that ever was, that ever will be. And that is your dharma. Like, that's your mission. That's your goal.
You went exactly where I wanted you to go. So thank you. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
To everything of really being present, and the union of consciousness and everything that comes to be in that. I feel like finding that state of peace and not identifying with thought. That's a big thing.
Not identifying with separateness too. So the idea that you're this separate thing from everybody else, that takes all the stress off of life, man. When you realize that you're like this fleeting moment of consciousness, the awareness just sort of sprung out of oneness, that you've gotten the chance to see both separateness and see the mirror of yourself and everybody else, but at the same time practice reminding yourself that you are a part of everything. And really, it takes the stress off. Like, oh yeah, like, oh, so what? You've got all this money, or so what? You've got all these stuff. Like, you're going to die and return to everybody else. Like, everything's going to return back to itself. Like, this is all a fleeting flicker of everything, of all time. And it's like, we construct like, oh, minutes. What are minutes? What is a day?
Right. Time is a construct of our own minds that we make up. Yeah.
And we take it so seriously. Like, we're like, this is my one chance. And like, I'm talking to myself right now. I'm telling myself, take it, like let go of the stress, because this one life that you feel like this is your one chance, you're living it over and over and over and over again in different ways and different viewpoints. And so like this is just one iteration of your experience of consciousness. And that just makes you look at all situations in a way that's like, wow, okay. Now, instead of like thinking I deserve something or thinking like, why isn't my life like that? It is my consciousness is viewing this aspect of reality in this moment for whatever godly reason or universal reason or whatever, just because that is the way that reality is. And that's how things are.
Well, and reality is in your own mind. Like
Yeah.
that's your perspective.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't make it right or wrong. It just is. Right.
Yeah.
My sister has a fun saying all the time. She's, because of being and doing so much. Right. She goes, "You're not a human doing. You're a human being."
Yeah.
Just be.
Dude, that takes all the stress off.
It does. It does. It's just being present with people, and you guys creating that space is awesome, and the vibe that you have going out there. So people with are interested, because I know yoga teacher training is something you guys have going on out there.
Yeah.
What do you find? Why would I come? Why would I want to go through yoga teacher training? Maybe I have no aspirations of ever teaching, but what are some of the benefits of just going through that?
So in order to be an effective yoga teacher, you need to be able to share an experience. And that is your own yoga practice. So you take your own yoga practice and you share it with other human beings. Sharing an experience is one of the main ways that we communicate with all of humans all the time. This is how we connect with one another. This is how we're sharing an experience of learning English. That's how we're talking right now. Like everything is a shared experience. Any form of communication is taking what I've felt, what I've thought, what I know, and expressing it to another human in a way that now they think it, they know it, they feel it. And that is like the passage of an idea from one consciousness to another is teaching yoga. And so you're doing this in all endeavors. You're doing this with your children. You're doing this with your family. You're doing this in your job, with your boss. Every single human being is sharing their experience in some way to create a connection in order to get stuff done, because we don't live in a vacuum. We have to work with all these human beings, all these stinky human beings on this pirate ship with us. We got to work with these guys to put the sails up. We got to share our experience. We got to work with them. And that requires you to effectively communicate your experience. So what gets in the way of that? What stops you from being able to do that? A lot of times it is self-doubt. It is the fear of judgment. It is the fear of putting yourself out there.
The ego.
Yeah. It's the thought that like, oh, I'm not good enough to share my experience, or nobody wants to hear this, or just all these things that we tell ourselves that keep us from sharing with others. And think about the greatest experiences in your life. Think about the best moments in your life. They were with other people. They're always with other people. They're always these shared moments. And that is what and if there is any purpose of human beings, like it's to be together. So in yoga teacher training, you learn how to be together with other people in a way that is uninhibited. It is you. That is how people are going to connect the best with your experience, is if you let all your boundaries down, let your guard down, and be authentically you. Yeah. Oh, I messed up on a cue. So what? We're all gonna die one day. Right. Who cares?
Who cares?
We're doing this yoga just to like try to experience a little bit of this oneness that we've got on the inside of each other, and take all the seriousness out of it, and like stop judging yourself and just go with it. And your story is something that somebody else is going to resonate with.
Have you read 4 Agreements?
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that book.
It's one of our books that we use in the teacher training.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good,
it's absolutely crucial.
Yeah. It's so important. And that, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally.
Yep.
I think that's a big one. And learning that through yoga. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best.
Yeah.
I love how you're putting that, of building confidence within to let your walls down.
Oh yeah.
Because that's probably, it's all of us face that in some level, even through practice, right? That's why you have to, I love that yoga, meditation, it's a practice.
Yeah.
It's something you have to do continuously. Because if you stopped right now, your body would get all kinds of jacked up.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. But the mind, the mental, everything starts to fall apart. And so when you feel aligned, it's everything else kind of flows a little easier.
And if you really believe in yoga, you think you know that everybody should at least be doing some kind of exploration of themselves, some kind of healing of themselves.
Well, how much awareness is lost in our bodies
Yeah.
that people don't even know, like they can't even wiggle a toe or
Right.
something or feel it, right? You know, because there's no awareness of it. So bringing that there is really cool. So you and Claire are doing this together, your wife. You guys met in Austin?
No. So we met, we actually met for the first time in Austin.
Okay.
But she had opened up her own licensee location down in Houston of Black Swan Yoga.
Okay.
So she linked up with the founder of Black Swan Yoga and got a sweetheart deal. First ever licensee of Black Swan Yoga, went down to Houston and opened up her own shop. And in the process of her doing that thing down in Houston, I was working for Black Swan in headquarters, and we were acquired by a massive wellness company that was headquartered in Austin as well. And they promoted me to the president. I became the president of Black Swan.
Oh, cool.
And it was my duty to figure out why Claire was doing so well. And so I had to figure it out because her performance was blowing us out of the water. She was just like doing things down in Houston.
So what was she doing?
She was creating so much better of a community. She was in the fold. Like these people were like knew her on a first name basis. And in Austin, we had already grown to 3 studios. So whenever you start growing like that, you start losing that ground level connection. We were focused on the game of scaling, right? Of trying to build a product that was going to be a nationwide yoga franchise one day. And in that, we lost that connection to the everyday student that's walking in your door. And so she was just killing it down there in Houston with the vibes. She had it right. She was hiring the right people. And so, I had to get down there to Houston, and she would come up to Austin, and we were linking up a bunch because it was just like trying to share best practices and all that. And eventually, I mean, it was inevitable. Like she had been admiring me for a while too, but she was booed up. And so like, I thought it was off limits. I was like, all right, yeah. Like, I mean, this is a cool working relationship. Like I can keep things professional. I'm good at that.
Yeah.
But then eventually, like, I got the text like, hey, I'm not booed up anymore. And it was okay. Why are you telling me that?
Claire, he's airing you out right now. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, that's cool that you guys built that foundation around yoga in that environment. Probably got to know each other in a different way rather than starting off on on another foot. That's really cool. And so now 2 powerhouses coming together, you bringing that sense there now. So what brought you to St. Pete?
So we actually opened up our own Black Swan Yogas in Dallas.
Okay.
She moved from Houston. We opened up in Dallas. I was back and forth between Austin and Dallas, still running the franchise. And then just like naturally, like we're talking about, when you lose connection with that source or the base layer. Like I was in Dallas, I was in Austin. I was trying to link up with the owners of the company, the wellness company that owned Black Swan Yoga as a franchise, and just over time, like when you're not in that proximity, it just degrades, right? That relationship degrades. And so we got to the point where I was ready to sell our franchise to them and just walk away and go live our lives, me and Claire. And once COVID hit, it like changed everything too. Like it was like all these different stressors all at the same time. It was a really tough time for Black Swan in the summer of 2022. There was some really interesting things going on with the company. And I was just like, in that crossroads of like, staying true to myself. And so I exercised my option. I had built up over the years to sell back to the franchise and go our separate ways. And we pretty much had, like, we were able to write our own ticket. Like,
Nice.
What do we want to do? We thought, well, are we going to go to Mexico? Like, are we going to go to like live out of the country? I mean, we had anything. I mean, Claire wanted a beach. That's it. That was the only qualifier. Like, we want to live next to the beach. And so over time, like we probably spent about like 3 months mulling over our next move after selling back to the franchise. And we were like, okay, let's go explore Florida. Like, we're going to go see what's up with Florida. She did an Instagram poll when we were going to visit Florida of all our previous students and all that stuff and all our teachers. And she was like, what's the coolest city in Florida? And they all said resoundingly St. Pete was like just coming up. I mean, I don't know what it was. It was just a blessing that like it came up at the top of the polls. So we visited here first, and then we just never even left. Like,
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, like we were gonna do a whole tour. We got the rental car. We were gonna go all around Florida and everything, and figure out where we wanted to make our next move. And like this city is just so awesome.
Just gave you a big hug and welcomed you,
man.
right?
Like, the people here are super nice. Like it's a smaller city than we're used to with Austin and Dallas, where we lived last. But at the same time, like it reminds us a lot of Austin, like 10 years ago when we both lived there, and we were just starting out with teaching yoga and like, you know, seeing the beginnings of all the high rises coming up, but you're not like fully there yet.
Yeah,
and there's
no,
still
it's true.
like the local art scene is still popping.
Yep. Okay, so that's what brought you in.
Yeah.
You guys came here and then never left.
We came here, we didn't leave, man. We started putting offers on our houses for the first, like during our first trip. Like
Nice.
it was just like we had a bag full of cash, and we were like, let's go.
I love that.
Let's lock it down.
I love that. So now that you've been, how long have you been in St. Pete then?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, so you guys have watched it transform here a little bit since COVID and the vibes and everything, and the studio's been open. Did you guys know when you came here that you wanted to open a studio, or was that something later?
No. And it was something, so we started beach yoga classes right when we got here. And we had a 2-year-old at the time. And then literally the day like we finished moving in, my wife realized she was pregnant. So we're like, we come,
bang, bang.
Yeah. We got a 2-year-old, she's pregnant. And I'm doing the beach yoga classes. We're seeing if we're going to make it work. But it was, at the time, it was just like, wow, like we just need to like hunker down and like weather this period of having 2 people in our household that are crapping themselves. Like it's just like it's such a crazy time. Like the 2-year-old and then the newborn at the same time. It's just like I don't recommend it, but actually like looking back, like we got it done.
Right,
we're done with that. I don't have to do that anymore.
Dude, that was funny.
But yeah, man, like opening up a studio was the last thing on our mind.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, let's just survive through this. So I picked up like some gigs. I was working in like insurance, like professional liability insurance. Like I was quickly realizing that nobody gives a shit about your yoga teaching or your resume or being a studio owner or even the president of a yoga franchise. Nobody cared. I went out and I was like, damn, I am never gonna. I was humbled. I was like, wow, I was at the top of the chain.
Right.
Now
And
I'm like just accepting these offers, like just to get work going and like keep the grocery bills flowing in because I'm not trying to like dwindle down our stack.
Right.
Like and I've always made money like that. Even when it was teaching yoga, I was still making money.
Yeah.
Like so, it was like, how do I do that outside of yoga? That was a huge humbling experience, and I realized like, damn, I need some real skills. Like telling people high crescent lunge and motivating them. I mean, that's like a great skill.
Yeah. But
like outside of the yoga studio, nobody really gives a crap.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah, you niched into your world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like when we were out of that world, it was like what do I do? So I took gigs, and then I realized like, I need a skill. Like I need an actual, like somebody's going to pay me because I'm like really good at something. Mm-hmm. So I was like, am I going to be an electrician? I'm going to be an HVAC dude. Like I was thinking about all these things. Like I was just ready to bust it out. And then I decided to start coding. So I had the propensity for data, being from an accounting background.
Right.
And so I just jumped in, learned some analytical like Python stuff, hopped in with a company here in downtown, and worked like a year and a half in tech. Yeah. And then
how was that?
Oh, dude, it was great, man. Yeah. Like I was solving problems, man. I was solving problems every day. I was having to learn new stuff. This was like a startup style. So they were like just throwing stuff at me, and like I was like, how do I do this? And they were like, we don't have anybody at the company that does this, so you're going to figure it out. And I was like, sick. All right.
So there was no really like, this is how you have to do it. It was exploratory.
Yeah. So it was Dr. Google all day. I was over there just Googling stuff, YouTubing stuff, like learning on the fly. I learned SQL, I learned Python, and then recently I've learned JavaScript.
Wow.
And all these things, like this was like building up my real stack. Yeah. Like this is like, okay. Like I feel better about myself now because like I could just go drop it the dime.
You have a marketable skill.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, I'm working this tech job. We got the 2 babies at the house. Claire's been grinding, right? Stay-at-home mom, like status, like really like
changing them diapers left and right.
Oh, dude, like just taking it. Like this was such a grind for her. And it like, I almost had it better than her because I'm just like at the office solving easy problems to solve. These are 2 insufferable, unsolvable problems. Like they're just crying and whining for like whatever reasons baby won. Like they're just going to keep on going. And so like finally like it gets to the point where we set the intention, right? Like this isn't gonna work. We're not just gonna be stay-at-home mom 9-to-5 life again. Like we learned this lesson in the past, like we learned it once, we're learning it again. Like we can't live this lifestyle. Like we're not built for it. The way even our relationship started, it wasn't in this kind of world, this traditional world that people like live in. I mean, I props to y'all, man. Like people just live in this life day in and day out. Like the only time I could see my wife was like a couple of minutes after putting them to bed at night. I was gone before she was awake in the morning. Our weekends were just like trying to like make sure that we were like maximizing our time, our free time, and just like it's just not the way we wanted to live. So we just put our peepers out and started paying attention back to the St. Pete real estate market and looking for a lease, looking for places. I mean, we knew that we could do it. Like I knew that I had a drop of a dime, I could build out a studio. On the side, I was flipping beans in the crypto world and building up that stack to be able to dive into another project without going broke. And so like this property popped up in on 22nd Street South, and it was like godsend. It was crazy. No change of use required. It was previously the CrossFit gym.
So it was set up for it.
Yeah, and there was another tenant that tried to come in and like they brought it up all the way to code, but then they couldn't. I don't know what happened. They just like canceled out on the lease and just left. So everything's brought up to code. No change of use required. These people are like, you want the deal? And I'm like, I was super scared. Yeah, I was super scared.
And how long have you been here at this point?
So we were here 2.5 years.
Okay,
so that's like 5 months ago.
5 months ago, yeah. So you just
because I signed the lease and we opened 3 weeks later.
Oh wow,
that's how crazy of like a whirlwind it was. Nobody knew we were opening up a studio. Nobody knew we were getting back.
And how big
is
your network here at that time?
I mean, stay-at-home mom, and then my company.
Right. I mean, you did a little bit of beach yoga, so you had maybe a little bit of following. Well,
and that's the thing. We had to stop the beach yoga once the second one came around because it was just like, dude, I'm working 9 to 5 during the week. Our weekend is like precious right now. I can't be going out there and leading a yoga class for free, like just because, just like. It's like, and now we kick ourselves for not continuing because I like was thinking of it like as an insurance. Like if we ever do open a studio, we're gonna have a crew already
ready to go.
But we stopped it like a year in. We did like a year of free yoga out there. So there were some people that actually came through after we opened up Beach Town Yoga, and they were like, "I did beach yoga with y'all." So it was
that's cool.
Nice. It would have been better if we would have like just kept doing it, but there was just no way. There was no way I was gonna do the 9 to 5 and like keep up that beach yoga on the weekends.
Right. That's tough.
So yeah, like you're saying, the network here just like completely shot. I mean, typically like what we did in Texas, we were opening up with so much hype. We were opening up with a huge franchise. We were opening up like with
marketing
9
dollars
months in advance of like, Black Swan Yoga is coming to Houston. Black Swan Yoga is coming to Dallas. Like, oh, get ready. And everybody like in Dallas and Houston's all jealous of the people in Austin because they get to do donation yoga that's not in Houston or Dallas. Like there was just all these different forces getting back into the biz that we didn't have. And so it was super crazy. Couple that with, we changed up the whole model. We changed up the whole donation yoga model.
How so?
So previously, like we were pretty conventional with how we did donation yoga because we were owned by a larger company. You need those like they take best practice from the industry, and it's you pay a flat rate and you give a little bit of commission, but it's mainly like base rate
to your instructors
to the instructors. Yeah. And so like we would be paying like $20 base, and then $1.50 per head, and so you weren't getting it. It was just show up, teach your class, you got some people, all right, good, have a great day. Like very just yoga teachers. That's how a lot of the fitness industry is. I mean, they just show up, they teach, the gym owners take like a lot of the revenue, and the instructor is left with this like sort of base comp sort of model that's not really incentivized by anything. And I was just like, let's just do it different, man. Let's like I just had this feeling that like we got to do something different. We got to differentiate ourselves even beyond the donation yoga aspect. We've done this before in the past, and we're also this new entrant into the city. We don't really have like a scene yet. We don't really have like a following yet. I got to come at these teachers with something that's like, whoa, like, oh.
Right. There's opportunity.
Yeah.
Here.
Like actually I'll come teach with y'all, even though y'all have nothing right now. Like even though y'all are new kid on the block. So we're splitting the donations 50-50 that come into the door with the teacher. So instead of, it's just like commission only. Like you bring in and you take
now they're
out.
incentivized to bring people in.
Yeah. Yeah. So now it's totally flipping it on its head, because previously it was like, oh, like people show up, people don't show up, whatever. Now it's like, if I could get like 10, 15, 20 people to show up, some of these teachers are walking away with like $100-$150 in a class. And this reminds me back before Black Swan was acquired by our larger fitness and wellness company. They did sort of the same thing, except it was like probably just a way to make logistical challenges easier. They split it. Any cash that came in went to the teacher. Any card donations went to the studio. So there were teachers that were walking out with fat stacks back in the day in Black Swan.
Right.
And they had like the dopest teachers in Austin, and they were having huge classes, and they were just walking out with wads. And it was like, dang, like, and that went away once the franchise started happening. The predictable cash flow, all that.
Yep.
So I was like, man, we got to get back to that old school days. Like we got to get back to that hype energy.
Yeah, and that's a different vibe, you know, to really say, okay, the instructors are what's helping us grow. Let's make sure that they're compensated well, and then also incentivized in your model to bring their people into class. Yeah.
I mean, our room fits like 90 people in it. We maxed out at our grand opening class, 93 people in the grand opening class, mat to mat, but everybody fit,
right?
And it was a badass class.
Nice.
And so if we could get back, to those numbers, I mean, we would be hitting 60-person classes regularly, 70-person classes regularly in Austin and Dallas and in Houston. I mean, we get back to those numbers, you got some serious potential for a teacher to walk away with a G.
Yeah.
Like from a yoga class with a G, and I would gladly pay that. Like to have ballin' teachers would be the biggest flex.
Well, yeah, I mean that and you're spreading the word so much deeper, right? Because back to the thing of yoga, like more accessible to more people. Yeah, that they're spreading their mission. That now the yoga teachers incentivized to be able to live a nice life and not be stressed on that, right? And still maintain a practice. Yeah, dude. Yeah, let's get it done.
Right? I mean,
let's get it done.
How are you going to have somebody that's supposed to be inspiring grown adults and then making like peanuts compared to these grown adults that they're supposed to be like the leader of?
Right.
Like it just never made sense to me. Another question that we would always get back in Texas was, where do the donations go? Oh, your donation studio. Where do the donations go? And it'd be like, our P&L?
The bottom line?
I mean, So now it's like a super easy question to answer. And also, I love the answer to that question because the teacher can say, oh, half of it goes to me. Yeah. Oh, okay. Now we've got this like interaction that's happening both like, it's like a communication that's happening on the yoga level, but then also on like the monetary level. Like, and it's serious. Like a lot of people like to say like, oh, yoga's not about the money, but like if you can make a career out of teaching yoga, you're going to be a better yoga teacher.
Right. Well, yeah, because now you're doing your one thing.
Yeah.
It's all, you know, you can put all your focus there and not have to worry. Now you're just not a weekend warrior yoga teacher. You can be full-time.
All these teachers have side gigs. All these teachers have side gigs. And when we get to the point where we're going to be, these teachers won't need side gigs.
No. I mean, you guys are fresh. You're fresh into it. So let's talk about St. Pete a little bit. So you guys are here, or you got the yoga thing going on when you're not. I mean, how are you spreading your word? What are you guys doing when you're not at the studio or taking care of the kids?
Right? Yeah. So we're passing out the kids at the studio and then hopping over to other businesses to try to partner with them. We're getting them free yoga for their their employees and their staff. Like people who are in contact with a lot of other people, I want them to do yoga because if they do yoga with us, then they're going to talk about how great they feel because yoga makes you feel awesome. Yeah. So we're partnering with like Three Daughters Brewing. We're partnering with like the Floridian. We do free classes there, donation classes at Three Daughters, and like get huge groups of people. Like it's like 70 70 or 80 people at the last Three Daughters class.
Nice.
They all get a free beer afterwards. Three Daughters opens up their day with 70 people in the door. Like, they love it. I mean, like, it just sets the vibe, sets the tone. We've always found that like partnerships with like bars are like great. Like, they just, more people in there, and we make them thirsty.
Yeah.
And then they go and have drinks afterwards.
Yeah.
And like, people will talk smack about like, oh, you can't mix yoga and alcohol. And it's like, actually, yoga's a great way to get thirsty. like, I mean, and I mean, like, you're just enjoying yourself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not telling people to go out there and get blackout after a yoga class, but like, you can have a couple beers and like enjoy company.
Yeah.
So yeah, the other businesses are one of the big through fairs. Going out and just randomly walking up to people and telling them, hey, come to Beach Town Yoga. Like, it's crazy how easy of a sell that is compared to like 99% of other businesses. If you walk up to somebody and say, hey, you want to do a yoga class? It's like actually like 50 or 60% interested of like, oh, sure. Yeah, I'll take that free yoga class pass. Like, if you were walking up with any other offer saying, hey, do you want XYZ?
Right.
It's going to definitely be way like fraction of that.
Yeah.
percentage.
Well, yoga's not threatening.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and it's just like, hey, you want to feel better?
Yeah.
Like, do some yoga.
For free?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or and then when you do feel better from it, donate whatever you want to do it. Like, it's like the easiest thing to sell, because it's just like,
and it's an hour.
Yeah.
You know,
Just come through.
Of a day. So what's I mean, you teach more of a power class.
Yeah.
Is that like your vibe? That's where you like to,
Yeah. You know, I'm coming in with that.
You come in with a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your passion is ridiculous. It's a high, like your fire is lit, man. And you can see it. You're definitely aligned.
Yeah.
So your power class is great. Loved it.
I mean, I can't teach anything but a power class. They'll put all levels flow on my class, and then it's just a power class still. like people come through, they know when they're taking my class, it's about to get an ass.
You know, if you're coming to Noah's class, you're gonna be sweating. You're gonna be burning. Yeah. You're gonna be that on the pirate ship.
Yeah, dude, we gotta activate that feeling.
Yeah. Love it. What do you guys like to go eat? Question I like to ask everyone. What's your favorite spot in town?
Dude, you know, I had probably the best meal I've had recently. Was that? Oh man, I'm forgetting the name. I'm blanking on the name. It's on Central Avenue. It's like a red building. On the
what kind
west.
Of food is it?
It's like Mexican.
Is it open outdoors?
It's got outdoors and an indoor space.
Yeah. Was that Taco Casa?
No. It's across the street from there, though.
Red Mesa?
No, it's not Red Mesa. My wife had been wanting to go there forever, and then I went there, and it was so good. I wish I knew their name, but I'm not like a name person.
No,
like, I'm just like,
you're like, I know where to go.
There, like, I know where the building is if I want to go there again.
Right, I know where to go to get the food. Okay,
it's some feminine name like Flower or something. I don't know. Flower Child.
No, Wild Child.
Wild Child.
Okay, well that's
Wild
like
Child.
Wild Child. That's a whole mix of food there. I don't think it's just Mexican.
Yeah, it seemed Mexican to me.
Okay,
I grew up in Texas, and I was like, oh, you got ceviche? Mexican.
Yeah, Wild Child is a staple. A lot of people like that spot.
Yeah, their drinks were bomb.
Yeah.
I really liked their mixed drinks, and then their food was just like super delectable, man.
Yeah.
That's the best dinner I've had in a while.
Okay, Wild Child. And that's one that everyone, if you haven't tried Wild Child, you need to check that out.
Put that in a wrap.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good spot for sure. Okay, so I mean, you guys are definitely locked in to your world, and I love this about the St. Pete entrepreneur community all the business owners, because it is all local business owners. People are so receptive. I don't know what it was like in Austin, but I feel like here, if you're starting something and people can back it and believe in it, like they're going to be open arms and take you in and help you get on your grind. I mean, I've had so many business owners on this show already, and everyone kind of has like, oh, we're partnered with this person. We're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. It's one thing that keeps St. Pete special. And hopefully we can keep that as the city continues to grow.
It's my experience that is uniquely distinct of a trait here. I mean, you got that a little bit in Austin, but it's also a little dog eat dog over there, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you get to the point, Austin's like over a million people. We're still small, man.
Yeah.
We're still over here, and like, it's sort of like this jewel on the west side of Florida that like once people discover, like,
I think the secret's getting out.
Yeah.
The secret's getting out. I tell people, look around, count the cranes.
That's all you need to do.
That's all you need.
I called Austin Crane City for a while. Now it's St. Pete. I mean, like,
yeah, it's true. I mean, it's ultimate growth happening, which is great for all the businesses here. We just have to keep the community strong and keep growing together, right? And creating it. But that's where likeness tracks likeness. So like the people that are coming here are all like-minded. They're following, just like you guys came. You fell in love so much you didn't leave when you were supposed to explore other places.
Right. And I've heard that story a bunch of times too from other people. I'm like, it just captures you. I think, and like you're saying, it's the people here. I think the people here are definitely different.
It's a community.
Yeah.
It's community. We're small enough right now that, I mean, I meet one person, they're like, oh, I know this, and this person. And you're like, oh yeah, I know them too. And I know them through this and this. Like everyone's just so connected.
We've already run into that too. Like with having a business here. And it's like you'll go out and market and they're like, oh, I've heard of Beach Town Yoga. Like, oh, and it's like, that was quick.
You're right.
Like just walking up to randos and like getting the word out that quick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. We're doing it here. We'll share with the audience. I mean, I love what you guys are doing. Actually, you're one of the studios I've been to the probably the most since I've been here.
Nice.
Shout out to Carly, my friend Carly.
There we go.
Made it happen. And we'll shout out Sarah as well. Sarah connected us. Yeah. Made all this happen.
Both are going to be teaching. Sarah's already teaching with us, and then Carly's about to be slinging too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good. I love people on their journey. And we'll see. Probably get me in there one of these years when I have free time on the schedule. Where can people find you? What's like your Instagram handle, website? Like if they're interested, they want to come check out a class. How do we do it?
All Beach Town Yoga. At Beach Town Yoga Instagram, beachtownyoga.com, Beach Town Yoga Facebook.
You got Beach Town Yoga. There's no other Beach Town Yoga.
No, dude. Dude, figuring out a yoga studio name was tough.
Tell me about that. I know Dominique is curious about the name. So
dude, it's so hard, man.
Yeah. So how many names did you go through?
I bought like 16 domains. I'm just sitting on all these random domains. I'm hoping maybe one or two of them will like sell in the future or whatever. But like there were so many moments where we were like, oh, it's perfect. And like I had this sudden urgency, like I gotta buy the domain. And then we like realized like, oh yeah, that Instagram's taken, or like, oh wait, there's like you Google it and like all this other random crap pops up that's already like filtered results.
Right.
So like Beach Town Yoga came to us. We were on the beach, and Claire just like was like Beach Town Yoga, and then it was like this moment. It was like, oh my god, that's it.
That's the name.
Like we had been struggling for like 6 weeks over it because like we were looking for locations. We knew we wanted to open. This was already at the point where it's like, all right, we're getting back into the business. We need a name. Like we can't just be Donation Yoga. Like we can't just be like something really generic. It's got to be approachable. It's got to be all of our ethos. It's got to be everything that we love. And Beach Town was just like really easy. Like it's just like it's not like something that people think is intimidating. Like it's just it's just smooth.
It's the right vibe.
Yeah.
It's the right vibe. That's funny, like that having the idea and knowing, but still not knowing what it's going to be called.
Oh yeah.
I think I came up with a name for this show maybe like 3-4 days before filming the first episode. Like we had it all planned out, like all the things. Yeah, it was like one of those
Talkin St. Pete.
Talkin St. Pete. Yeah, shout out to my sister. Yeah. And I hated the name at first. I didn't like it. I was like, really, Talkin St. Pete? Because I didn't know. We kind of knew the direction of the show. We had some things lined up, but she's like, yeah, no, it's perfect. I'm like, all right, we'll roll with it. Now I love it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
People are looking for that like hyper local take. Like one of the things like I feel is lacking is just like a resource of like what's going down in the city. Like you've got like certain Twitter accounts you can follow, but it's still just like not fully there. I remember back in Houston and Austin, like you could follow some Twitter accounts and like know what the down low was like here or there. So like there's still a niche to fill.
There is. Like, well, we're growing, we're expanding, we're building it out for sure to be able to be that resource. And there's a great, there's other great sites and things like that for St. Pete, but I mean, we've already had people move to St. Pete from California or whatever, say, hey, we were listening to your show prior to getting here. We got an idea of the vibe. Like, yeah, so it's...
What's up, Cali?
Yeah. So it's cool that people are listening right now, maybe even as they're driving here to figure out, well, where do I want to go? What's the vibe? Where should I go eat? Where should I go do yoga? So we're grateful. We're grateful for that, and grateful to help all the other businesses in town share their message and their backstory and how they got started.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah. Just talking through it makes me more hyped about it. I'm gonna go teach some yoga.
Yeah, dude, that's what. Yeah, you have to go check out Noah's class. Check out Beach Town Yoga, beachtownyoga.com, their Instagram, and show up. Give a nice donation, knowing that 50% goes to the instructors that are helping you feel good, find your inner peace, and be present. If they've made it this far, Noah, one word. If they're still listening, what should they comment below?
Hype.
Because this guy's got it. Comment hype below. We appreciate you. Don't forget, we're sponsored by Bogdan Homes. So if you know anyone looking to buy, sell in the greater Tampa Bay area, we're here to help. We're here to help. We might know a thing or two about the area. We can connect you to a lot of awesome people. Noah, appreciate you, man.
Hell yeah.
We'll see you on the next one. Boom. Boom. Dude, your energy's awesome.
It's funny how you dovetailed into answering questions